Welcome in everyone to GDT Live presented by DraftKings. I am your host, Colton Davies, and alongside me today is former NHLer and current host of Game Notes over on Spit and Chicklets, Colby Armstrong. Colby, it is a pleasure to have you aboard today. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just actually calm before the crazy storm, buddy. Like hockey's upon us, as you know, with junior hockey, tryout camps, NHL camps, preseason games have begun, as we know, and so everything's just about to get crazy, and I don't know what I'll be doing. I'll be everywhere all at the same time if I could, but I'm just kind of getting ready to put my hard hat on and hit the season.
Get ready to grind. Yes, I feel that as well over here. Here at Daily Face Off, we just had our social media meeting, getting ready for the year. What games we're gonna clip? It's just gonna be chaos this year, but this is what we waited all summer for, so I'm excited.
Yep, and we got, for me out here in Pittsburgh, I live in Pittsburgh. We just had the USHL Fall Showcase, so that was here. There's recruiters, scouts, NHL people all over the place for the last 5-6 days, and I partook in that. So that was off the clock stuff, Colton. That was stuff I just do because I'm a loser. But get in there, watch some of these kids, get to see them, and that was interesting. So we're doing the same thing on our end. Where are we going? What's it looking like? My schedule. I'm an old school guy. Like, I'm a boomer, I guess you would call it. I have like a giant desk schedule, like the calendar that fits on your desk.
Yep.
And I like flipping the giant page over with everything I have, where I am, what I'll be doing. So filling that up, and it'll continue to change and morph as the season goes on. But I got a little taste of it this weekend with 24/7 hockey at this UHL Fall Classic, and we'll continue on as things get underway.
Oh, that's awesome. I kind of wanted to go back a bit in your career, talk about the WHL. Everybody that follows our show knows how much of a junior hockey nerd I am. I get called that in the chat all the time. So everybody knows that. And I've always been fond of your career in those early 2000s Red Deer Rebels teams and playing under the Sutters. Like, walk me through it kind of as a young kid, what it was like for you to enter the WHL in the 90s, late 90s, 2000s.
I remember I was playing basketball at a friend's house down the street, like that bump game where you shoot and the other guy shoots and you bump his ball away. Yeah, classic. Just with my friends, and their mom came out and was like, "Hey, Colby, your mom called here. You have to go home." So I'm like, "Okay." So I ran home and opened the door, and my mom's like, "You just got drafted to the Red Deer Rebels." And I'm like, "Cool." And then I like ran back down the street to play his basketball. It kind of seems different now. Like, it seems bigger like now, although that was a big moment for me. But I think I was like a 6th round WHL pick when I got drafted. Like, I was a smaller guy. I was good, but I just was like, I don't know. And the game was different. Everything was kind of different. So, heading into those first few years of getting a taste and getting to go to camp, I remember going to camp, and the Rebels had just had a really good year. Like, Terry Ryan was on the team. They made a big trade for him and had a big push. Aaron Asham, BJ Young, who was their leading scorer. And they had a bunch, like Mike Brown, 1st round pick. Stephen Pete was like going into his 17-year-old season, having fought like every tough guy in the league at 16. It was an eye opener, to say the least, to be able to go to camp with like a bunch of guys that were just massive bodies, but like with that kind of style of play was a whole other thing as well. So an eye opener for me. And other than that, I was just trying, I guess I just like having fun, getting better. I played midget AAA with the Blazers in Saskatoon, and I didn't make the team as a 16-year-old. And so it gave me that extra year to kind of play well and put up points and dominate at that level. So when I came in, when Brent Sutter bought the team, I believe that was like 99, 2000. I could be wrong. I think that's when I went there for my first year. Yeah, that was the year I graduated high school, was my first year. So I split school there and split school, came back home, graduated with my friends. I think that extra year was so big for me at the time. I was down to the final
Mm-hmm.
cut as a 16-year-old with a few other kids, and they decided to take these other kids instead. And I don't know if it would have paid off. Like I think it was like an important thing for me that, to have me back home and have me playing at a level where I could get better that year, to where I was then going in the next year as a 17-year-old. I have a late birthday. I'm a late November birthday. So,
Okay.
I was 16 to start the year, but turned 17 not long after. But it just gave me that extra year to make sure that I was totally ready. And then Brent Sutter buying the team and kind of reshaping the organization, and
Mm-hmm.
being a part of that under him as a 16/17-year-old. We had like Boyd Gordon, Joel Stepp, Doug
Oh yeah.
Lynch, Jeff Waywitka. Um, you could go down the list of kind of 16-year-olds that he kind of revamped and pushed us young guys into, major roles as young guys in kind of I guess you could say a rebuild at the time. Junior, we know, has those windows where it always goes. And he was
Yep.
perfect timing to have him take over the team with his expectations and his qualifications, I guess, and his knowledge of the path and what it takes to be a player, to be arriving at that time was like so perfect. One, for me personally, and then for me personally and team wise with all of us to be in that situation. So yeah, that's how I kind of got there. That's how it started. It wasn't easy, but it was kind of the start of my eyes opening and going, okay, this is another level of preparation, practice habits, practice level, day to day, what it takes preparing yourself to play at the level he wanted you to in games and everything. So it was a big year for us as a team. And I think, as bad as we were supposed to be that year, because we had so many young guys, we ended up making the playoffs. We did get our asses. Am I allowed to say that? We got our,
Oh yeah.
what?
You're
We
good.
got our asses handed to us by the Kootenai Ice in their old little small
Oh
barn
yeah.
back in that day. God knows where they are now. I don't know. They went to Edmonton. They went to Winnipeg. Who knows what they're?
Wenatchee.
They're Wenatchee now. That's where they've now
Yeah.
settled, in Wenatchee.
Yeah.
Crazy. That was a hard rink to play in, and they had a really good team, and they swept us. I believe they swept us. They smoked us. It wasn't even
Oh.
close. So that was huge for us. So as a group, though, to see like the next level and get us ready for the next year.
And then in that next year, of course, that's when all the magic started to happen for
Yeah.
you guys, right? Like you went down the laundry list of players, but even other guys too, like Jim Vandermeer was a big part of that team.
Yeah.
And like it just like looking at the roster too, it seemed like you guys were all bought in for each other. That there was guys with hundreds of PIMs all down the
Yeah.
rap sheet. Like it didn't
Yeah.
matter who or what type of style of hockey you played, you were gonna back each other up, be brothers to the
Oh
end,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that was Brent Sutter to a T. I mean,
Yeah.
look at how many brothers he had. Like that's how you had to do it. Um
Yeah.
and that first year was like a baptism, and then the next year was, that's what it takes, kind of like, with courage and determination and preparation and all that stuff that was kind of instilled to us. So next year coming in, I think with a relatively same group, he did make some pretty big trades and tweaks to that team that put us over the top. But, Jim Vandermeer was our captain. He was an undrafted
Mhm.
player that showed up to camp and kind of earned his way there and earned his way to an NHL contract as a free agent, undrafted at the NHL as well. And it was one of the toughest players I've ever played with, and especially in junior. And so we just had a well-rounded group. He plugged in a few other guys that were massive for us at the deadline when we needed it. And Marty Erat was huge and,
Yeah.
really put us over the top. But we were, like, I like to think of that team as a team that we could win, 2-1 or 1-0, or we could win 6-5. Or if you wanted to get in the back alley, we had the pit bulls and enough,
Yep.
firepower through our lineup top to bottom that was more than willing to play that style of game. So we were pretty well balanced and coached really well to a T with where we were supposed to be. Like the attention to detail from Brent Sutter with our group of, junior players, was off the charts defensively, positionally, and physically, to where you have to play this way. So the rest just kind of took care of itself once we got rolling. And yeah, that was a special year. We were selling out that rink like crazy. Our playoff run was insane. I think at the time the records have been broken, but we'd won the most games. Maybe we had like a list after that year of all kind of the records. We had goals for versus goals against was just insane. Amount of wins was insane. And yeah, we had a heck of a run. It was awesome. We actually just got together, not this past summer, the summer before, Colton, where we went back to Red Deer. Our team was honored and going into the Alberta Hockey Hall of Fame as a team.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a bunch of guys come back, and it's been a number of years, obviously, since that. But it was great to see everybody and hang out now, everyone with kids and married. So it's new careers. It was awesome. It was awesome and fun catching up, because that year was just so special with the group that we had.
Going back to that year, like, I just kind of want to talk more about it, because like that was a Memorial Cup win for you. That was a WHL championship. Like, did you, as like a young kid, when you first stepped into the league, did you kind of see the team moving towards that direction?
I don't think I knew what I was like surviving, man. Like it was totally different. And
yeah,
once and the thing about Brent is he gave me a great chance. Like I played top line minutes with Dustin Paul, who was a 20-year-old with us at the time, unbelievable shot and release. And Justin Mapletofft, who that year that we won led the league, and it was like, I don't know if he was WHL player of the year. He might have been. Like he was that good, and he ripped it up. And so the year before, to be able to play with those guys, and those guys, Mapletofft had been drafted to New York Islanders at the time. So there's like another level there of like how you're supposed to play and what you're aspiring to than, me, the donkey young guy coming in that's a goofball that doesn't get what's happening kind of thing. So it was an eye-opening experience in a lot of different ways, but Brent put a lot of us in situations where we could succeed and where we fit, and gave us a chance. And, he was demanding, he was hard on us. We had to live up to it and be there. But, that first year going into the second year, like we knew we were going to be good. The next year, how good, I didn't know, but we were a well-oiled machine at such a young age by that time, that it was, he had to add a few things, and, everything, needed to we need to hold up our end of the bargain, but we were in a position to be really good. And we knew that going into that year that we'd be a pretty good team. I didn't know what we'd be like a Memorial Cup championship team. That's kind of like far away. Like that's crazy to think about, but I knew in our league that we would be like a good team. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just started slaughtering teams. Like any way you want it, we were rolling. So yeah, it ended up being like pretty fun. And then I remember like after games, we would win, and it was like the opposite. Like when we'd lose, which didn't happen very often, and it'd be like, okay, on to the next one. We'd win, and it'd be like, okay, not a big deal, on to the next one. Like it wasn't even like nothing was a big deal. Like we were just that dialed in. And that I think that that got a lot of us and got me prepared for the next level. There's no question. Pro hockey, which everyone was trying to get to. And a lot of guys found success because our team was good, got drafted, signed free agent contracts, went to NHL camps. A lot of good things came out of that season alone, which was, huge stepping stone for us in our young careers.
Going to the Memorial Cup final and playing in that, what was that like for you personally, and just winning the whole thing? I mean, how was the celebrations, and what was that like for you guys?
Yeah, it was in Regina. They were the host team. So I'm from Saskatoon, so it's not far down the road. Right. So it was easy for my family to be there, some friends and family friends to come down and catch some games at least. And we had such a good group of guys. All our families, I just remember, got along so well, like siblings, brothers, sisters, everyone was in the mix. And so I just remember the Memorial Cup, like all our families and like billet parents and everyone that came down for it was just like a giant hangout party. And they got to do that. We didn't get to do that. We were like in our hotel rooms and dialed in and focused, obviously having to play. But that was so new too. I just remember that experience being like with the way the schedule was, how long the week was going through that.
Yeah.
Round robin play, which we just finished battling through 4 series to win a championship. It was just like so weird of like a setup or a system. And we kind of just tried to win our games. We didn't really think about, oh, if we win this game and the next one, we can guarantee a spot in the final automatically. We don't have to play the tiebreaker, which we got lucky enough to do. We beat Val-d'Or game 1 in overtime. We beat Ottawa the next game, which secured us because of the way the round robin shaped out that we got to the final. We lost to Regina the next game, I believe, but we were kind of just, okay, let's just get ready to play. And then there was possibly a tiebreaker. We were just sitting and waiting. And it was Val-d'Or who we beat in overtime. Sure enough, that game went to overtime. The stands were packed. It was insane, like being at that time also on TV, which was crazy. Yep. Now I think there's so much in like Victory Plus, all these kids' games, you can find them now. At that time, it was like being on TV and having like a major network, which I believe was Sportsnet at the time, covering the Memorial Cup was incredible. So, there was just so much new stuff at that moment that was like, whoa, wow, this is crazy. And, playing in that game where the stakes were super high and going to double overtime, made it even sweeter to be able to win it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And that's funny that you mentioned the TV thing, because I think a lot of people nowadays don't understand that, like, even when I grew up, it was WHL on Shaw, and you get like one game every couple of weeks, if that. And like that was kind of what you would be able to watch in terms
that was in your time. In my time, even you might get like one featured game a year in the Western Hockey League that was on like national TV, or you could see it. So like to go to a tournament like that where it's like nationally covered was like, it felt like you were in the NHL, man. It felt cool.
Yeah.
And for us as kids and stuff that aren't, used to that, it was something else. Like, it was like, holy smokes. Like, they want to do interviews. There was all these different things, features, sit downs, everything. And that was my draft year too. So it was, it was like, there was a lot of action leading up to it. And I tried my best not to be oblivious to everything that was going on, but to end it that way in that kind of environment was wild.
Going back a little bit, just like the difference between junior hockey then and junior hockey now, like how crazy of a difference it is. Like, when you played, it was a no holds barred league, like, for sure, in that sense. And nowadays it's more calm, as it's more tame. But what can you kind of say about playing in that league back then?
My first ever like preseason game that I made it to in the Western League was double warmups, which they had to do back in the day because there was like fights and shenanigans in the combined warmups where both teams go out there. So you'd go on, then you'd have to wait like virtually like 45 minutes for the other team to warm up and then to flood the ice again. And to go on a full ice warmup was weird. And so I was lucky that by the time I got there, they had taken the step to move the warm-ups back, but that's where it was like coming out of at that time. I don't know. I think it was just more bruising and harder of a game that way. Seeing like players now and knowing and understanding I have a 15-year-old development of youth hockey now to where it's at, it's just a totally different approach. And in my mind, I feel like guys now, when I watch, I'm like, everyone looks the same, where prior, like, the good players were the really good play. You notice the way they move, the way they look, the way they played, where everyone kind of looks the same. Now there's like, let's just go to the NHL, for example, like McDavid, McKinnon, like Makar, like some of these guys that are true standouts with the way they look comparatively to everyone else that actually looks the same. So that's what makes them super special. But I think at the junior level, like that's probably what it looks like now, just because of the training across the board from start to where you see them in junior is the skating coach, the skills coach, what's important, what they're supposed to be like, what they're supposed to look like, and what they find that is the way it is. That's probably the biggest difference. Also the toughness, let's face it, it's not the same. The rules have changed. The idea of how to play is different. So it's a little bit less, I think, taxing physically on most players. Even like a lot of the players that do have that element to their game, they're not required to be at the same level. I think that, and that's obvious, and that's all the way up to the NHL level as well.
Yeah, for sure. And like, Yeah, it's just it's interesting to see the development of the league and how it's going to more of a fast-paced approach. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I grew up with brawls and stuff like that too, so I always loved that side of the game. But
Yeah,
hey,
like if you're at a game and you're a paying fan and you're at like a 5-1 blowout game, like now leave the game probably, because you're
yeah,
not going to be there's going to be no value to the game of them mailing it in, just getting to the next game.
no,
Like back in the day, there was like, hey, we can send a message here. Like we can't roll over like this. There used to be that.
yeah,
And so you're like, okay, here we go. Like we're not leaving because like you never know what could happen. So now I think we have a general idea of what's going to happen.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went on to your first preseason game was the double warmups. What was like your welcome to the WHL moment?
Oh man. You're making me go way back in time, Colton, with that question. I would say like we had a pretty big rivalry, and they had a really good team with the Calgary Hitmen.
Hmm.
And they have Pavel Brendel and Chris Beach and Kristanovich and Kinch on defense. Like look up those guys' production, and Brad Moran, he was like
Yeah,
destroying. He was unbelievable. They had really good teams, and we were just the little team down the road in Red Deer. And so that became kind of target number one for us, I would say, as that first year team when I was there, is like, and Brent was hard on us. Like he'd say, you guys are beat before you get off the bus with them, just because they were so good. And like mentally they get in your head. And I'm sure there's been other teams that are like this with a rivalry team, but I would say like the games against them with how good they were. And for us I remember I got Pavel Brendel to fight me. I got in a big fight with Pavel Brendel. He dropped his gloves. He had like 80 some goals the year before, and then he was lighting it up again that year. So, playing against them in those situations with the proximity of how close we were, like making it to the Western League and then playing against them was that was kind of like the pinnacle moment for us of trying to like beat the big brother, I guess I would say at the time, with the way they had
yeah.
their team.
That's awesome. You got to fight them. That's funny.
Crazy, hey? I don't even remember now. I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't even remember my first Western Hockey League goal. I can't even remember it right now off the top of my head.
That's what
Crazy,
I was
hey?
going to ask you actually. What if you kind of remembered your first goal? Because
It was probably sick.
yeah, you probably. Oh, it
It
probably
was probably
was.
a rebound. Probably a rebound in and around the net somewhere.
How about the toughest players you played against in the WHL? Can you kind of rattle off a few names of guys that were
It was
just
like
like impo?
Dean Arsini, I think
Yeah, yeah,
he was in Kootenay. Serdachny, he was in St. Swift Current. He was just like those guys that were like big, broody defensemen that were like in your face or like really hard to play against. Um, were I didn't like that so much. Um, playing against Calgary, and there's Carl was a defenseman. He had a full beard. Like I just remember him being a big dude. And they had some bigger D that were challenging to play. Those guys for me are the guys that like I kind of remember playing against that were really tough, just because their style of game and the way they played and how big they were at the time. And then like on the flip side, to like skilled good players like Nathan Barrett and Lethbridge, he was always like he was skilled and really good, but he was like a gamer too. And there was like a ton of those guys in and around the league. Like if you were really good, you were still like tough to play. Like they had
yeah.
some they still had that element to their game, like well-roundedness, where they were very good at producing and being the best player on their team, but they were also like really tough to play against. So yeah, those guys were scattered through the league, but the guys that stand out are those big tough D-men for me that were like in your face, like cross-checking the crap out of you, where it
Yep.
was a hard night every night.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to get by those guys and they're just
Yeah,
beating you down. Oh.
every
Um,
shift.
you talked a little bit about how the WHL kind of shaped you for your pro career, but can you touch a little bit more on that? Just like how it was able to kind of, propel you into, becoming a first round draft pick and so forth?
Yeah, well, the schedule for one, right? You're playing in a
Yeah.
real league. You played 72 games, and I think it's less now. What is it, 68 games?
68. Yep.
And now they have them so they only go out once a year to a certain division and do that. We didn't have we went everywhere, so that was challenging. But like game day, practice day. Like, that was the first time I was on a team or in a league where you were, into that kind of life, where
Mhm.
it was like pro hockey, right? Like you have game day and practice day, and you get an off day, and you game day, practice day. Like that's the only days that matter. Um,
Yeah.
and so like hockey wise, like being in that kind of schedule and that kind of mindset, that was preparation. Having Brent with us and his connections also. I remember we had Steve Larmer, an ex-teammate of his
Oh
with the
yeah.
Chicago Blackhawks, great goal scorer, come and talk to us about what it's like to be a pro and getting to the next level. And we were preach that every day with Brent as well, with our preparation, attention to detail, and what it means to play on a team, and kind of that pack of wolves mentality that he instilled in all of us, which I think we did better than anyone we played against when I was in Red Deer. We were just that's just the way it was. So and then the expectations on you as a player with that, and your performance and holding guys accountable. And so it wasn't like youth hockey playing, or midget AAA, for example, like playing a couple games on a weekend and playing that schedule. It was demanding. The expectation was demanding. The detail of your play was demanding. And so you take all of that, and the demand on your game and expectation on your game defensively as well from Brent, from our team. I think like you wrap all of that, like pit bull, like ability to produce, ability to defend, ability to play a team game, and inside of that, with a really high expectation, just springboarded me into a situation where I did get to pro eventually. And it still took, I played 3.5 years in the minors without getting called up, but it had me better prepared, I think, with my overall game of expectation than otherwise. So I look back on that as some great years for my development mentally and hockey,
Hmm.
to being ready to do that. Plus, Brent was a demanding coach, so like every coach after that, I was like, hey, I had Sutsy, like I can do anyone. Like you wanna be hard on me, like you have no idea, buddy. Like this is nothing. Like how many meetings do you want to have? Let's have meetings. Let's go. Like you want to sit me down? Like I'll respond. I know how to respond to like having it go tough and having to like bounce back, or having the bad first period, to like, hey, that's not good enough, to being like, I don't fold like a lawn chair. I had the
Yeah.
ability to come back and rebound. And he put me in situations, not burying me, where I was able to be that guy. So I had all of that in junior hockey, which was awesome. It was great.
Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scores to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. This week on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, you can find lines such as the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Arizona Cardinals at -122 and Kenneth Walker at -140 to get an anytime touchdown. Lines and odds are subject to change. New customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-97-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Apply NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
And then that all translated, of course, to becoming a first round NHL draft pick. What do you remember about draft day?
I remember like the combine leading up to it, after we had just won, had a parade, and like not being able to basically do anything. I think after that season, preseason and accounting, I think I played like 100 and some games. And so I was like 160 pounds, I think, when I went to the combine. I did one bench press and I threw up after the Wingate test, which I think is normal, but I had just finished playing. Like I probably shouldn't have been there. Like I wasn't, but I did a ton of interviews and sat down with all the teams leading up to that, which was a cool process to go through and meet all these people and walking into rooms and seeing like famous ex-hockey players that I watched growing up that are scouting or GMs or everything. That was really cool. But I remember being at the draft and being in an elevator. It was in Florida. It was one of the few flights. It was like my like second or third flight. Maybe third flight I'd ever taken ever to go anywhere other than like the combine and the WHL final. And I saw Ilya Kovalchuk. That was his draft year in the lobby of the hotel. We got in an elevator and like he was huge. He was like 6'3", like 225. His chest to back thickness was like insane. Like he was just a built guy. And I was standing there like, yeah, can I do your homework, Mr. Kovalchuk? Like I was just like not even close, you know? And it's so like to see those guys now, like now it's easier to see guys, like everyone sees each other. There's like, you know, the Halinka, the under 18s, like there's all this stuff that like everyone has and everyone knows each other. Then it was like, look at like even seeing Jason Spezza that year at the Prospects game, which I got to play in. I'd only seen him in the Hockey News magazine, you know, like when you flip around and they're rating the top prospects. So, you know, to see those guys in real life and like kind of like compare yourself, it was like, whoa, like Spez was a big guy too. But to see Kovalchuk, who went first overall, I was like, oh man, this guy's a man. This is crazy. But I don't like that happened super fast. It was just like we were there with my family. Mom, I just remember my mom being like, look, you see the size of these shrimp? Because we're in Florida. They're like prawns, right? They're huge. Because in Saskatoon, we get like, you know, I don't know, by the time they get to us, they're like this big. So yeah, you know, we're at Red Lobster. That's big seafood night out. We were down by the ocean in Florida. This is another ball game. So I remember like those experiences and stuff, which was really cool. Swimming in the ocean for the first time I got to do there also. Oh. So I remember all that kind of stuff. And, you know, the draft happened around that.
That's so fun though. Florida. That's cool. You grinded out 3 years in the minors. So the cliche question, what was it like to get your first call up and to play in your first NHL game?
It was 3.5 years. So that was my entry level contract that I played through. And then I had to re-sign, then I had to clear waivers. So I had a good camp. I had a couple good camps, and one of the years was a lockout season as well, which was awesome for hockey in the American League. It was like the NHL, all the best young prospects and talent were there. So it was a really good year to play against everybody, and our team was good. Every team was good that year. But to get cut and then have the year I had prior and then had a training camp I got cut on like the last day. And to then have to clear waivers and not get picked up, I was like, oh man, like my first thought, I was like, I'm going to the KHL. Like, where else am I going to end up? Like, this is it. Like, I'm not in the plans. But went down there. Our team was really good that year. I think we were like undefeated when I got called up just after Christmas. So I had a good year. Like I was producing and our team was really good. We were killing everybody. And after one of the games, it was like a Friday night game. I came out after the game. I think I had 2 goals and 2 assists that night. And I came out and they're like, hey, you know, coach wants to talk to you. It was Joey Mullen at the time because Michelle Therrien, our coach, had just got called up to be the head coach prior to that with that team. And so we didn't have a coach even for like a week until they found they put like Joey Mullen, Hall of Famer, down with us, greatest guy ever. So he's like, hey, you're going up. And then my whole family was there because it was Christmas. So it couldn't have been really better timing. And everyone kind of made the trek the next day. I played the next night, flew out the next morning, from Wilkes-Barre to Pittsburgh with Max Talbot. Him and I got called up together and went to the rink, didn't pregame skate, tried to nap, couldn't nap, and played that game. And my family drove up from Wilkes-Barre cross state, and they're all able to be there for my first ever game against Marty Brodeur and Rafalski and the New Jersey Devils in Pittsburgh. It was awesome.
Oh, that's so special. That's really cool. What do you remember about you remember your first NHL goal?
I remember my first NHL goal. Yeah, I started on like the 4th line. And then one game, I got put on a power play, and I remember I scored. Like it was assisted by Thomas Sorovi and Mark Recchi, good buddy of mine and Hall of Famer as well, had a great career. He seemed to Recchi assisted on like everyone's first goal through that time. We had a bunch of young guys start to kind of come in and take over, and Rex was like, his name is on everyone's first puck. I actually have it. I have it here. Hold on one second. Oh, I have it.
Oh, wow.
There it is. It's like a little plaque and everything.
That is so cool.
Taped on it. Yeah, pretty cool, hey?
Right on.
Yeah, we were in Atlanta. I got put on the power play. I scored next game. I scored again next game. I think I scored 3 games in a row. It was crazy. Atlanta, we went to Chicago or Nashville. I scored in both games, and then I ended up on a line with Crosby and like Ziggy Palffy. And I just started like playing my game and producing. So, you know, Michel Therrien, who was the coach, I had him for 2 years, 2.5 years almost in the minors. And he was hard on me too, but like he knew what I could do. He believed in me, and all that time down in the American League, I was able to like hone my game, you know, wall work, battle, like how to get pucks out at the line, how to manipulate guys so I can make plays in hard areas. You know, all that stuff just got better. And I think kids nowadays are like expected to play in the NHL right away, and it is a younger NHL league, and it's more normal if you're 18 or coming in and 19 to make the NHL. At that time, it wasn't like a normal thing. Like some guys did it, very minimal guys, but now but I look back on it as like, looking back now, I needed that. Like I needed the time to get my game to where it was at. Cause once I went up, I never went back down, you know? So I was ready. I was ready. And it was because I was well seasoned, let's just say, playing down there to be able to get up there and make it last.
And what can you kind of say about playing with Sid? I know you've talked a lot about this before on other podcasts, but I'm just curious. I'm a humongous fan of him. What was it like kind of being around him?
At 18 years old, like the pace that he led everything with in practice, the way he approached being ready to be the best at the game. Like, you know, you come and play. Most guys come and they play. Like there was like a different expectation like that I'd never seen on a player like him with what he is, and the understanding from him. Like he changed the culture of the Penguins completely as an 18-year-old, just by every day he was that guy. Every day his expectation was this. Every day he put the team on his back as an 18-year-old against, you know, monsters on defense that were beating the crap out of him. And he just competed. It wasn't easy, but mentally, and his preparation and his knowledge and understanding of being that guy is just crazy to me. That's the craziest part. You know, I was able to room with him as well and became very close with him in those days, and like picking his brain, asking him questions. Like he just saw it so different. It was amazing. And, you know, seeing the career he's had, obviously he's good, but that mentality that he has like every day, that's the hard part. That's the part that I think gets lost, you know, in summers when guys are training and getting themselves ready. Like he's like next level alien style ready, like with mentally preparing himself to be that guy for 21 years. Like that's another level. So that he had that when he was 18, you know, he had that approach, he had that ability, and it was awesome to be around and kind of see the early days growing of that. And then to play on his line, like, you know, going from the minors to just playing hockey and being a regular hockey player, which everyone else on that team is compared to him, there's like a certain exciting part to it has all the eyeballs on you guys, right? Like everyone's watching, like all the media wants to be there and to watch him, but they, you know, you might do something great too, right? So there was always that opportunity to also playing with him on a line or him like, hey, let's go 2-on-1s, like you're with him every drill. There was like a driving expectation because of the way that he's ready and the way that he goes, that you have to also can't have a bad practice. Like practices were so games for me. Like I was like so nervous some days going to practice because I'm like, I have to be good today. And other guys are like, why? Like we're practicing. I'm like, yeah, dude, you don't have this alien on your line with you that's like on another planet that is driving the ship like you've never seen before. And your play in practice has to match it. And it's like every day was like that. So it was awesome. It was great to be around, but it was honestly, it was very challenging as well, just because of how good he was.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, I could only imagine what that was like being around him and just
Yeah.
how infectious it would be to
Mm-hmm.
just like be as good, try to be as good as him and just, do what he does and not be the last man off the ice, go to do the extra gym stuff that he
You
does.
can't
Like,
let him down. You can't let him down.
no.
He's there every day. And like, we all would be like,
Yeah.
he's crazy. Like, what's he doing? Cause we're regular guys. And it's like, but you had to do it. You had to jump on. He was completely driving it. So I think there's a lot of admiration around the league. If you talk to other GMs or coaches, of kind of that baked in Sidney Crosby effect that Pittsburgh's had for the last 20 years. That is probably a coach's dream, because you don't have to push as hard, or you don't have, because he does it for you. And he's not the most vocal guy, but he does it with his preparation and his standard of play and his practice habits and, the way he approaches and comes to the rink. It's just different. It's different.
Yeah.
And it runs the team.
100% it does. I got a couple quick hitters for you as we kind of wind down our time. Starting first, you were always known as a wonderful teammate and locker room guy, but who were some of the guys that were your favorite locker room characters?
Andre Waugh. We had Andre Waugh, who was with us in those early days in Pittsburgh, who was, his personality and his comedic energy, like every day, because we didn't do a lot of winning, mind you, those days. It was hard. It was exciting because we knew eventually we were going to be good, but we took a lot of losses. And so every day in practice, every day on the plane, every day in the dressing room, like this guy was out of this world. Like he was awesome. Another guy, he was more of a fight guy, like an enforcer type, right? But like, I went to Atlanta, we had Eric Bolton, and his kids are terrorizing junior hockey in the OHL.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, they're awesome. I love the Boltons. But
they're great.
Eric Bolton there was like that every day as well. Just the guy every day in the room. He was great. And you got to have the guys like that. And that's one thing too about hockey, is like, we don't have guys like that much anymore. Like, not necessarily saying, like, I think every team has to have a couple guys that are kind of fucked up, right? Like,
100%. Got to have the guys with the screws loose, right?
Yeah, and like every day practice, you're in January and you're practicing, and it's like you get the seasons grinding, it's hard, and those guys show up and like they have that energy, they have like that camaraderie factor that like, I miss that part of it. I love that part of it, or going to team dinner or going to practice in the morning when we're not feeling great and like having fun. Like I love that. And it's not easy, right? Like everyone's kind of grinding, but like I loved being in that environment. And so I think personality wise, or training wise, I guess, for the young athlete now, everyone's trying to be like Crosby, like they're the young professional. And I get it. It is big time. And I get to be your best. You have to, but I don't like, a lot of teams I think are fairly quiet. I think a lot of teams have that, all the guys are the same that way, where I was thankful for a lot of the guys where I played on teams where it was like every day, like this guy's out of his mind. Like, here we go. Like, let's go. Like, just practice to in the dressing room to having fun that way. So it kept everything light. It kept energy high. It kept like smiles on our faces. And when it was hard, and those guys are important. I don't know if you can
100%.
measure that nowadays, and maybe that's why it's gone to the wayside, but having those guys around and in the room, I think is valuable and important on a day to day.
Absolutely. We hear everybody talk about it, even those who have, won championships, and they all talk about those types of role players and how important they are, right? So definitely important. Most underrated teammate that you played with?
Oh, God. Ask me some tough questions here. I'll go back in the day, and like the most simple guy I ever played with, maybe like from the way he dressed to the way he approached the game to his style of play. It wasn't fancy. Rob Scuderi, like I played with him in the minors. I believe he's a Boston College hockey player, and I mean, there's nothing he's the hardest player to play against, like the most annoying stick in the world, like a great partner to a really good defenseman. He'd be there, kill penalties, never got a ton of points, but won a few Stanley Cups and was just rock solid, like difficult guy, great skater, strong, big, but he wouldn't like jump out at you. And, you know, for that, I think, you know, those kind of guys are underrated for how important they are and are generally how good they are at what they do. And he won't get a lot of love through his career, but,
No.
but yeah, really good, solid player.
That's a good answer. My last one, Colby. What was the favorite jersey that you ever wore?
Probably Montreal.
Yeah.
I grew up in Saskatoon being a Montreal Canadiens fan, which was of not normal. I don't know why I liked Montreal so much. I was like by myself. I got made fun of for liking them. You know, it was like Oilers. It was like Oilers Nation out there. A few odd Calgary, Vancouver fans kicking around.
Yeah.
And then and a lot of Leaf fans. Don't get me wrong. They overpopulated, but I grew up a Habs fan, and Habs were my team. Winning the cup in '93, I would have been 11 years old. That was like the greatest moment of my hockey life as a kid who loved hockey, and having my team win in my house and with my friends was like, I was loving it. I was loving it. Like I was bragging. I was just loud. I'm loud as it is. So imagine when things go good, I get real loud. And so my last year being able to go and play in Montreal and put on that jersey, that was like, you know, like your dreams come true. Yes. You know, chasing your dream of playing the NHL. Well, on top of it, I got to go and play for my favorite team as a kid. And I was just like, this is incredible. So I would have to say that.
Okay. What was it like playing in the Bell Center first time?
Amazing. Like the feeling, the vibe, the energy. It was always like one of the top places to go and play. I remember when I first got called up, I went to the Bell Center for the first time, and I'm skating around in warm-up, and Kirk Muller was their assistant coach at the time. So he was out in warm-up. This is like I got my first NHL point that night, which was really cool. It was on a dump in. So it rimmed all the way around. A guy picked it up, passed it to a guy, and we scored. So I got like a long bomb phantom assist, second assist. But I remember skating in warm up. I couldn't even like warm up. I was like staring at Kirk Muller. I was like, oh my God, that's Kirk Muller. That was like the kid in me coming out. I was just like amazed that he was standing there watching us because I loved him as a Canadian. So it was Captain Kirk, man. I couldn't even believe it. Years down the road, I started doing like some radio and media post career. And here in Pittsburgh, and I was at a pregame skate. He was there with the St. Louis Blues, and Darren Pang, who's like, you know, he knows everybody. He's like the guy. I was talking to him, and they came up. Their coaching staff came up to watch the Penguins pregame skate. And I'm like, oh my God! I said to Penger, I said, holy, there's Kirk Muller. He goes, yeah, Kirky, he's a great guy, Kirky. And I'm like, I've never met him before. He's like, I loved him as a player, as a kid, when I was a kid. Like he was like my guy, and he's like, oh, you never met Kirky. And he brought Kirk Muller over to say hi. Nicest guy in the world. And I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even like say hi to him. It was like embarrassing. That was like I get that with like Mario, like Lemieux. And I still can't really talk to him. But for whatever reason, the cat got my tongue majorly in that interaction, trying to say hi to like my childhood hero. It was like another level. So great guy though. Got to chat with him. It was awesome. And so that was, then I graduated through my teens to liking like Peter Forsberg and Mike Modano, which eventually became crazy that I got to play against them as well, which was really cool.
That's awesome. That's such a cool story. What do you, when you look back on your career, my last one, I guess, for you, when you look back on your career, what do you cherish the most?
I think having the friends that I made, like that's probably the best, even for my wife. Like we talk about it all the time. Like, the hockey world's awesome. Like I love it. The people are fantastic. Like I could go somewhere and run into a hockey guy and his wife, older retired guys, and it's like it's so easy to just, because we're so used to being on different teams and meeting guys from all around the world and, making that work, that like we're used to just sitting and hanging out. Like it's just the way it is. And my wife is like that too. She's like, it's so easy because they're used to like handling everything and being in these rooms with all these different wives and girlfriends from all over the world and having to deal with the moms and dads in those rooms and, getting traded and picking everything up and going. So they're easily moldable into like any situation. So I probably miss like the camaraderie of being a part of that and meeting the people I've met. And I'm lucky to have, the friends that I've had. Of course, anyone will tell you that players and the guys aren't as good as keeping in touch as much as the wives are now, that they always seem to know what everyone else is doing and stay in touch much better. So they're like our lifelines to like getting to see guys again. But I miss that. I love that. That's probably the greatest thing. Like I got to go to Marc-Andre Fleury's retirement party in Montreal a few weeks ago and see guys that I used to play with, guys that I used to play against, guys that are still playing now with his Minnesota or Vegas team when he was there. And it was so easy. It was so fun and easy. And to have friends like that now through the game is incredible. And, the USHL event showcase, the draft, prospects game in the CHL, different things that I've been able to work over the years or be able to attend is like that, because I have like 3 friends that I played junior with that are scouting in the NHL now. I have, guys that I played against that I never met in my life that are scouting that we easily catch up and talk to. Game Notes, my podcast, a guy I played against, Gavin Morgan, his son plays for the Omaha Lancers in the USHL. Hadn't met him in 22 years since he welded my eyes shut in a game in Salt Lake City back in the day in the American League, which was check the Game Notes story. Ran in him this weekend and had a great catch up and talking to him. So that's hockey, man. That's the part I miss the most.
Oh, that's awesome, Colby. Seriously, thank you so much for giving me 50 minutes of your time today. Truly an honor to talk to you. Seriously, you're one of the best in hockey media.
Thanks, Cole. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I know we took a while to connect, but I'm glad we did. Good luck this year. Put on the hard hat. She's about to get crazy, and we'll just battle through another season, buddy. Good luck with everything.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Colby. And seriously, thanks so much for this.
No problem.